Have you ever wondered what it would take to build a movie prop in real life? On a recent rewatch of The Lord of the Rings, I saw this elvish bench in Rivendell, and I want to build it. There's just a few problems. It gets limited screen time, there are no reference photos of it, and I've never built anything like this. Nothing about this build went as expected. Oh no. But it's gonna be an adventure. And so, our journey begins. Armed only with a partial screenshot of the bench and the naive belief that this was going to be a quick and easy project. I realized pretty quickly I'd made a mistake. The screenshot I used to trace the template didn't show the legs, and at this point, I didn't know if any actual pictures of the legs even existed. So I improvised and just made up something I thought looked elvish. But when I cut out the template, the whole bench would have been no bigger than a dog bed. After a little trial and error, I got it sized appropriately for an adult human and sitting high enough off the ground to match the movie. So I cut out a full-size template using 1/2-inch plywood. This template allowed me to glue up the blanks for both the front and the back of the bench and ensure I had full coverage with room to spare. I then added dominoes anywhere I felt it needed additional support and would be unlikely to be exposed once I start carving it up. Building the blanks this way also allowed me to use a lot of scraps and cutoffs from recent projects, which cut down a lot on the material costs. Which worked in my favor because I'd need that extra materials budget later to fix some other unexpected problems. But we'll get to those soon enough. The plan, at least as it stood now, was to build the blanks, then cut out the basic shape of the bench using the CNC. Now I know I could use the CNC to carve the whole thing, but that would mean I don't get to learn how to power carve, and I'm really looking forward to that.
Shot in pieces.
By this point, it had taken me days to get these glue-ups ready. If this screws up, it's back to square one. Near perfect. The cuts were about an 1/8 inch off, which left me plenty of room to spare. And I was feeling pretty optimistic at how good it looked already. My first idea for the leg design was similar to the curves you see on the top of the bench. But that ended up looking a little too much like Santa's sleigh. So this was option 3. I wasn't too worried about getting everything perfect just yet, since a lot of this will be carved out or hidden by the rest of the bench assembly. But I did take a minute to fill in a few of the more obvious imperfections with black CA glue. I had a completely unrealistic expectation of what would come next. So much so that I honestly thought I was going to carve all this out with a Dremel and a set of 1/8-inch burrs from Amazon. What followed was several days of trying different burrs and files before finally landing on the cut-saw, coarse, and ultra-fine burrs placed in a couple die grinders. So got this guy, the rotary burr. These things absolutely ate through the material.
That looks really good.
And it was pretty easy to let it get away from you and dig out too much, especially the coarse one. But I feel like by the end, I had a pretty good handle on it. What I didn't have a handle on was how I was going to sand all this. which turned into a pretty big issue. To achieve that elegant sweeping curve for the seat backs on either side, I came up with what I thought was a pretty clever plan. I cut out 80 individual slices of that shape, 40 for each side from MDF. I hollowed out the thickest areas to save weight and included 2 half-inch locating holes on each side that I could use dowels on as alignment pins to keep everything straight. Then, once it's all glued up, I'll throw some white oak veneer on it to match the rest of the bench, but also to achieve this really prominent grain texture seen from another angle instead of looking like a big butcher block. On paper, it solved every problem. And the process of laminating all these together went way easier and faster than I expected. But, as is common when trying out new methods, I didn't know what I didn't know. For starters, inexpensive bar clamps don't exactly distribute pressure very evenly across wide laminations. So both of these cupped pretty bad and needed to be sanded heavily to keep the veneer from having gaps or bubbles underneath it. But the much bigger issue is how the MDF reacted to the contact cement. If you've never worked with contact cement before, essentially you just put it on the 2 surfaces you want to join, let it dry, and then the moment they touch each other, they're bonded forever. Except that's not what happened here. Turns out that MDF edges absorb the active bonding chemicals before they have time to dry. So normally you could just seal the edges with something like a shellac and that would fix it. Except it didn't.
It's not doing anything. Like it's not gluing at all.
That's part of the reason I love taking on difficult projects. That sense of accomplishment, overcoming adversity, and building the confidence that I can do this. I had a choice here. I could keep fighting this knowing it was the wrong path, or I could regroup and attack it from a different angle. For the second attempt, I recut and laminated the sides using plywood. I used nicer clamps, but less clamping pressure to prevent bowing. I bought an extra sheet of the white oak veneer and used Titebond's cold press veneer adhesive, which as it turns out would have been a better choice for the MDF. They're still not perfect, but I gained invaluable lessons from the attempts, and I know exactly what I'd do different next time. Sanding is the worst part of any project, but this was torture. I thought to myself, there has got to be a way to sand ornate details like this quickly and easily. Surely, this is a problem civilization has solved. So I reached out to one of my good friends that does a lot of power carving, and his stuff always looks amazing. When I showed him what I was working on, he said, "You're gonna have to hand sand all that." All right then, keep your secrets. I tried a detail sander, Dremel stones, files, rasps, itty-bitty flap sanders, big flap sanders, cone sanders, these plastic detail thingies you wrap sandpaper around. I bought a pneumatic oscillating random orbit sander. I tried squishy sanding pads. I tried flexible sanding pads. I tried squishy sanding pads on flexible sanding pads. The only combination that actually worked for me was pairing the squishy pad with these 2-inch sanding discs with wings. Somehow these little fingers around the edge give it just enough grip to not shoot off into space every few minutes. And for everywhere that wouldn't reach, my friend was right, and these flexible sanding sponges ended up being the only way to get in there. This is gonna take forever. Let's come back to this. Honestly, I was getting a little impatient and wanted to see some real tangible progress. So I decided to take a break from sanding and get it assembled. That would let me get the measurements for the seat bottom and leg braces so I could get those designed and cutting on the CNC. I used a couple dominoes on each side to align the pieces for the glue up. Then I'm going to add 4-inch screws for strength and rigidity. After this, the hardest parts were behind us, and nothing could go wrong now. Yeah, I took the rest of the day off.
Zoinks. Okay, that didn't go as badly as I thought.
I was a little worried about these legs, so I decided to make some braces and test a new theory I have. Based on this screenshot, you can see that the sides are 2 pieces laminated together. So my guess is they cut these out on the CNC in 2 pieces, just like I did these braces, then all they had to do was clean up these little ridges. Pretty slick, and definitely how I would do it if I ever built another one of these. And the only way I can imagine that they got them so perfectly smooth. While the braces were cutting, I retrieved this dragon egg of foam to start prepping the bench seat. It took every bit of 10 minutes to get the plastic off this thing. I may have gone a little overboard on the thickness, but this is going to be a bench comfy enough for a king. I haven't done much upholstery over the years and have never done anything with tufting. So, in the spirit of being adventurous, I thought I'd give that a try too. I watched a few videos about this whole process and it seemed straightforward. Not unlike wrapping a Christmas gift, really, only with a stapler. Side note though, I'm pretty terrible at wrapping Christmas gifts. Probably should have thought that through.
I do not hate it.
I ordered a button tufting kit from Amazon, and essentially the idea is you put the fabric into this little circle, squish a button in on top of it, then cut off the excess fabric and tuck it into the back of that button. Then there's this little backer piece that gets pressed into that, and Bob's your uncle. Buttons. Then you just pull them through with some wax twine and secure them at the depth you want on the back. I didn't do a great job on this part, partially because the foam is super stiff, but I'm planning to play around with this process a bit more in my next video. So if you want to see that and other videos like this, atomic elbow that like button and consider subscribing to follow along. I chose white oak primarily for its prominent grain pattern, but its golden tones are nowhere close to the movie's color. So to get that darker tone, we're gonna need to stain it. I had a lingering anxiety this whole build that it just wasn't gonna turn out like I'd hoped. But seeing that color transformation completely melted those feelings away. That looks really good, dude. I love it. I love how this looks. Oh, that looks so good, doesn't it? I think this looks amazing. I've been working on this bench between customer projects since back in October, so around 3 months now. Just a fun little project to test my skills and learn some new ones. And while it was frustrating at times, I never get over the feeling of seeing something like this come together. And I hope you've enjoyed watching me build it. This is a dream. Ugh.